Before we get to the demo, here's a word about her materials.
This is my palette. Some people think it's rather small, but it's got large mixing areas, and I like to mix a lot of different colors. And also I can separate my warm colors from my cool colors. And I always put a lot of paint on the palette. You don't ever want to run out of paint right in the middle of a painting. I'm starting here. I have New Gamboge, which is a clean yellow. This is quinacridone gold. This is raw sienna. This is raw umber. Burnt sienna, burnt umber, alizarin crimson, permanent rose. I've left these two available for whatever painting I might want, but I keep warm colors here. This one is Rose Madder Genuine, and down here at the very bottom is my cadmium red. Notice that these reds are dyes, and I know that this color and this color and these colors right in here are precipitate color. They are not dyes. This is cerulean blue, cobalt blue. This is Winsor blue, Winsor green, and sap green. I use Winsor Newton colors because I've used them for years and I know what to expect of them. If I put on a new pigment on my palette, I have to decide how it works, what color it really is, and so for that reason I've stuck with ones I'm sure of. I use a variety of brushes and sizes. I like to have a few small brushes for detail. Then I need some big flat brushes for the background. And then just everything in between. I even have an old oil brush that I cut the tip off of to use for a scrubber. The one thing is that I don't use the very expensive brushes. I've discovered that I like a brush that springs back to a point, and a lot of time a sable brush doesn't come back quickly enough to make me happy. I'm kind of glad I made the discovery because it saved me a lot of money. This little brush works fine for detail, and this is my famous hair brush. This half-inch flat brush seems to work very fine for me. I can put it on its edge and make lines, or I can make big sweeping strokes. So I think this little half-inch Winsor Newton 995 brush is one of my very favorites. This little oil brush I've cut to a point so that I can use the pointy end to clean up edges. I always paint with this sort of a setup. I like to have my palette on my right hand because that way it's easy to reach. Also, I've memorized where all these pigments are, so I don't have to guess what color I'm getting into. And another thing is, I like this paint rag right here next to my palette because that way I can use this to get the right amount of pigment and water into my work without having the distraction of trying to find it or wondering where I put it or having it in my hand and dragging it across my paper.